thing or something, like once a month. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm starting.
Oh, I think JJ's trying to get started.
I'm starting.
I see him on. He just popped up.
Hello?
I wish I could see anything. But
yeah, JJ just went live on Twitch.
does he know that he's
sorry.
muted?
Yeah, no, I didn't know I was muted. Of course I didn't know I was muted.
We were like, what the fuck?
Because that was very weird. My audio was pulling through to my other channel that I had been streaming from. So I'm like, what is going on? Why is my audio pulling through to there?
All right, are you live?
Yes, I'm live.
Yep, he's live.
I am live.
I can't see because my phone doesn't work. So.
Oh, well, that's great. I am alive. I am alive. Now I always have to do this process of gonna find my own live video because YouTube never sends me my own notification.
Oh, crap. There we go.
But I've got the questions also in front of me, so we can double team it.
Hi, Monster the Mink.
Oh, crap.
Alright. Jeez, I'm just waiting for everyone. Oh, jeez, that's a quick... Hello, everyone that has just joined. Welcome to another Creature Feature with KP and Reiha. If you're not aware, today we're going to be talking about pets. And a lot of you have submitted questions. So I think the process is we're going to try go through as many of the questions that have been put down or on the AMA as much as possible. And then if we have time afterwards, we will take your questions live. I don't know if the ladies are happy to do that. Because we've got about 10 questions here we have to get through that people have asked or requested, so to speak. I think KP's muted.
Oh, my thing's all messed up. Everything's messed up.
So we
It's
found
a day.
My technology issues are.
I muted myself and you muted yourself, and I'm like,
I know.
are we sure everyone can hear me?
No, everyone can hear you.
This is professional streaming, folks.
Yeah, we just at its finest.
Okay.
At least I woke up earlier this time.
Yes.
I mean, we made it through one AMA where nothing wrong happened.
We did? When was this?
Last week. 0 issues last week. We finished on time. It was amazing.
Yes, it's true. Yes,
All
and
right.
I do have a giant cat
Well,
behind
then
me.
we met our quota for the week, for the
the
month.
show,
So
yes.
now we're yeah.
So now let's see how we do here. So there's a giant cat behind me, and on KP stream there are dogs. There are puppies. So yeah, let's get straight to the question. Thank you for everyone who submitted questions about your pets. We'll try to get through them as much as possible. But then now I'm going to hand it over to Reiha to ask the first question, and we can move. I do apologize. A lot of the folks haven't actually put the names down. We didn't ask, so hopefully those people are listening.
And hopefully everyone is either listening or will definitely catch the VOD later.
Yeah.
Our first question, their pet is a Maltese. And their question is, she's such a barker, she barks at everything.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, JJ, I'm just hearing myself again on your...
Oh yeah, I can hear him a little bit too, or hear a little bit of an echo.
I don't know why. But carry on. Sorry, I don't know why.
Okay.
I'm using headsets.
Every little noise sets her off. There are times we don't even know why she is barking. Are certain breeds, such as Maltese, more prone to barking? What can we do when she barks and goes nuts when we don't want her barking?
Yeah. So obviously barking is like a huge issue with lots of different kinds of dogs. I do think there are some dogs that are more prone to barking than some others, but I think it can be a problem with just about any breed, really. There's a few things that you can do. And like some people shy away from bark collars, and I really don't have too much of a problem with them because they make ones that don't do the electrifying thing. Like, I don't really think you should probably electrify your dog, but they make ones that'll just make a high-pitched noise that the dog finds like not reinforcing, the dog doesn't want to happen. So that could be an option. I like people are very hesitant to use bark collars, and I'm not really sure why. Like, it is just learning for the animal. And if they learn that, oh my gosh, that sound is really annoying, and if I don't bark, then the sound doesn't happen. I think those are good options. So you could try something like that and see if that works for you. I've also, I guess it kind of depends, and this is where we were kind of wondering if the people who asked these questions would be here, because it's hard to like figure out exactly when the dog is barking and like what the actual problem is. What is the dog barking because it's afraid? Is it barking because it's like a dominant animal or something like that? So without knowing that, it's a little bit hard to say, but I know a friend of mine who's a dog trainer had an issue where the dog would bark when it was in its crate. And so he sort of put a towel over the crate, and then when the dog would bark, he would just tap the crate with like a, I don't know, whatever, his shoe or whatever, and it would just like make a loud noise inside the crate, and the dog would be like, "What?" and would stop barking. And so you can kind of interrupt them that way. So I think like interrupting the chain of behavior is what you're looking to do here. But honestly, the easiest way to do that is going to be to get a bark collar. Get one of the nice humane ones that just plays like a really high pitched noise, and see if that works for you. That's going to be like the easiest option. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that that's cruel in any way or anything like that.
Is it basically just similar to association of?
Yeah, it just kind of. Yeah, exactly. So it teaches them that, oh, whenever I bark, this awful sound plays, and I don't want that to happen, so I'm not going to bark anymore. And that's all it is. Yeah.
Well, I guess because can't you probably believe shouting "stop" at your dog doesn't really help.
No, it doesn't. But you can try to interrupt. Yeah, you can try to interrupt. Like even if you just like if you're with the dog and it barks and you just tap it, and I mean literally just tap it, like just no. That can potentially work depending on why the dog is barking in the first place. But basically what happens is the dog goes, "Hey, why are you touching me?" And it just interrupts the behavior. So the dog stops barking to go, what in the world?
Why are you
yeah. And so that can work. But so many things with dogs, it just really depends on why the animal is doing that behavior. So some things may work, some things may not, but that would be what I would try. And it's the easiest thing, and it works even when you're not home. The collars, right? So.
All right. Sorry, I see apparently we have sound issues. Always. Before we ask the next question, yeah. Because I don't know why you guys.
They can't hear you?
Well, no, yeah. I had to put my mic down because you were hearing me through the magic of my very powerful microphone, which for some reason is able to receive sound from my headset. But at the same time, I put the sound down. Now they can't hear me.
Oh. Well, the echo wasn't bothering me too much.
Okay, but it should technically be fine. If we got everything right. All right. I'll ask question number 2. This is for a cockatoo. My cockatoo always has his feathers very tight towards his body and is in attack mood. I'm assuming mode, maybe, whenever my friends come over. She took care of him when I was away for 4 weeks. Ever since then, he has some reason hates her. So he needs to be in the cage when she comes over. He doesn't do this to anybody else. It's been 10 months.
Oh my goodness. So birds are so hard, especially like parrots and those animals, because they can really, they get very possessive, and so that's what I'm guessing is going on here, is more of like a jealousy thing. Oh, this is so hard. So I've never, well, I've owned some like parakeets and stuff, but I've never owned a parrot. I have worked with them, and they are very finicky animals. So for me, a lot of things that you want to watch out for, with the parrots, they tend to get, or cockatoos, which are in the Borb family, as he says, they can get unnaturally attached to you. So one thing that I would say to try to make sure, I don't know where you touch the bird, but I would never touch the bird at like on the base of the tail. I always touch like near the head. And this sounds like a really weird thing, okay? But the reason is these birds can actually develop like sort of sexual relationships with their people. Like they think you're their mate. So and like obviously down by the base of the tail is going to be where all the action happens for the birds. So by keeping like any of that social interaction really up near their head, you can kind of dissociate yourself from that kind of stuff. That's something to try. I would maybe do so obviously, especially with this one particular person, she has or the bird has a, I don't know, a vendetta against, so to speak. Like what's the bird's favorite snack? Maybe maybe you even make it that like the only time the bird gets its absolute favorite treat is when this person comes over. Hey, look. No, it's not. My phone's not working. Don't worry. It was a false alarm. It just made a sound. So those are some things I would try, and then that way the bird very positively associates the person coming over with when treats and things happen. And even if the bird's not willing to accept like from the hand of this person, it could just be like all these awesome snacks are right near her, and you have to go near her in order to eat them, maybe something like that, and then you can slowly work up to, now she hand feeds the bird, and do small steps and positive reinforcement that way. But yeah, birds are so tricky because they develop such personal relationships with their owners. So good luck with that. But I hope that helps. You know what? We're gonna have to do a follow-up where I want to know if any of this stuff helps at all.
Yes, absolutely.
So if it's your bird, let me know if any of that helps.
If I may connect that to the question, without sounding too blunt, but is it a possibility a bird could act that way if it wasn't treated properly? So I wouldn't say that the person did it on purpose, I don't know, but if it felt uncomfortable with that person.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously, and maybe even, being left, because it sounded like they left this bird under this person's care, and maybe for some reason, the bird, because the birds will remember things like, oh, I know you're not my owner, and then all of a sudden now this lady is looking out for me and this isn't what I wanted. And maybe that's sort of the thing. I mean, my owner always, lets me out of the cage first thing in the morning, and this person didn't do that. And so like, yeah, there absolutely could be some very small things like that are, yeah, you're not my mom. Exactly.
Yeah.
My chat
How
says.
dare you? And
Yeah.
like, I am not staying with this person again. I don't want to go house sitting.
Yeah, so it could just be that, they're associating that person with a time when they were very uncomfortable and they were away from their mom and not very happy, and so maybe that's just what it is.
Like when a dog gets taken to the vet, they know that they're about to go to the vet.
Exactly.
Like, I know this road.
And you can also have really positive vet experiences. I had a vet with one of my dogs who would always give treats and things like that to the dogs when they came in, and my dog loved to go to the vet, like absolutely loved it there. So there, it's all about positive reinforcement. So you can turn this around. I think just giving, like I said, doing the absolute favorite treat only when this person comes over. The bird's going to very quickly figure out, oh my gosh, every time this person comes over, though, the tastiest snacks come out. And I think that could be something that could help.
Okay. Next question.
Next question is for someone's bearded dragon, and they are asking, why does our bearded dragon sometimes hiss at us?
So I'm going to defer to JJ on this one. I have never owned bearded dragons. I've worked with some lizards, but I don't know a lot about their behavior. So
Yeah.
go, JJ, go.
So thank you. But first of all, I did not ask this question. Like, I wouldn't ask myself this question. But generally, hissing with bearded dragons in both male and females are exactly the same. It means they are either uncomfortable or reacting aggressively. If your bearded dragon is hissing a lot of you, there's a number of things you can try to do to first establish. Like, I'm not sure if this bearded dragon was inherited or taken, but if your bearded dragon is hissing at you, or like if you're putting a hand in a cage, she may feel exposed. So you might want to put a lot of like different logs and hiding spots around so she gets more comfortable. And also you might want to spend a lot more time with her. So I've learned with my bearded dragon, there was a moment she was actually very sad and she wasn't pooping at all. And the moment I moved her into the same room I was in, she immediately brightened up. And if she could see the outside, she was a lot better too. So yeah, if your bearded dragon is hissing with you, it's definitely a hostile reaction, or she's very uncomfortable. So there's something about where she's sleeping is uncomfortable, so you might want to check the temperature of the cage, or sorry, of the habitat or terrarium. Make sure that the heat levels is correct, and always replace your light bulbs every 6 months, the UV lights, because they do wear out and it can cause complications, and it actually makes them extremely irate. At the same time, if the UV light is too much, they also get extremely irritated, so every time you try to pick them up, they're going to hiss, because they just don't want to be moved. I don't know if your bearded dragon is also wind crawling. If that's the case, then it's definitely your UV light. They are not taking that very lightly. So make sure, yeah, it's just about making sure that the habitat is okay, and start associating your hand movements with maybe a treat, but obviously sanitize your hands before. So she starts knowing that your hand is not the enemy. I don't actually hand feed my bearded dragon. I actually use tongs, but I do hand feed her every once in a while. So it's not a constant thing. Every once in a while, I'll give her a treat by hand. So she always knows that I'm not the enemy. But yeah.
The power of snacks.
Yeah, the power of snacks. It's what KP always mentions. It's positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
So if she's really bothering, is spend time with her, or him, sorry. Put the bearded dragon on you, like if you're going to rest or nap. Always be in view of the dragon, even if you're just reading a book and it's staring at you, and you'll see that most likely will calm down. But yeah, positive reinforcement always works.
I think that's that's true of a lot of animals, is like spending time with them. I feel like a lot of people sometimes will, you have the animal lives in the guest room, so it's not like always in full view, and like even with some mammals, like I'm sure Reiha can attest to this, but like guinea pigs can be really awesome, really social pets, or they can be the complete opposite and be absolutely terrified of you. And so it's all a matter of like socialization and making sure that you work at it.
Unfortunately, too many people buy bearded dragons or anything like that for display purposes. It's like, I put it in a cage. It's an animal. It has emotions, despite when anyone says it has needs. And also, I also want to check if she's hissing at you inside the cage. Make sure she can't see herself on the other, or himself on the other side of the cage. She may be seeing, or his double, and thinking it's another bearded dragon. So there's things like that. But always spend as much time with them. If you're not taking your bearded dragon out in the sun every day, if there is sun in your area, or as much as you can, and giving it regular baths, your bearded dragon is going to feel very uncomfortable, because they're like Superman. They need the sun to power up. So just my thing is spend as much time as you can with it, and it should be fine.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Well, my first question I could answer, and we move on. Okay. I don't know if this is a combination. My cat sits on my head. Was this a combination question? It's just my cat sits on my head. That is the question. My cat sits on my head.
Yep.
I don't. I think your cats. I feel like a lot of cats do this, honestly. I think that cats. I don't know why. It just seems like cats just want to be like in your way, like just inconvenience you as much as like humanly possible. I don't know. I mean, it just wants to be close to you. That's nice, but maybe there's a high vantage point associated with that. I'm not sure. Yeah. I mean, cats will be cats. I don't know. So hopefully it doesn't sound like it's bothering you too much. So enjoy the snuggles while you
Just
can.
uncomfortable having a very furry hat.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as it's not pooping on your head.
Yeah,
I feel like
I was just about to say. Wake up with a wet forehead, like, what is this?
Gross.
Sorry. Welcome to the stream, everyone. If you want to take the next question, I'm going to highlight all the ones we've done. Did Ray run away?
I just read Double's comment of trying to suffocate you. Like,
Yeah,
Jesus,
'cause
why
cat-
is your cat trying to suffocate you?
Because cats are widely known to be completely plotting against the human race.
Yes.
Those are just facts.
They have
We don't
this
make that.
accent. We all know every cat. Soon.
That's science.
Soon.
It's just science. Yeah.
Unless you saw them on my
Okay.
stream right now. I'm just saying they're in a catavan and their head is sticking out the front of the caravan. It's hilarious. But carry on. Sorry, Ray. I digress.
I don't know. The next question was, it's for a cat, and she steals unusual things like salt shakers, wallets, shoes, and socks. She also eats our hair constantly. She will also sit on our shoulders at times.
She's a ferret.
Okay, we've got another like sitting on you situation. So one thing that stands out to me, I don't know why it's eating your hair, but this is actually very dangerous. You can actually, like, hair is strong enough but also like really long, so it can actually potentially lead to, like, basically it would be like almost like wire cutter through like intestines, like eating long strings and stuff like that and hair. It's one of the reasons why they'll also tell you, like, if you if like this is gonna get kind of gross. Everything always comes back to buttholes on this stream, but buttholes are very important. But like I've had my vet tell me times, like, because sometimes an animal will get some of your hair. I mean, like, sometimes we actually accidentally ingest some of our own hair, but they don't want you to pull it out if it starts coming out the other end, because you can actually, like, stricture the intestines and cause, like, some serious damage that way. And it's the same true as, like, if they somehow eat floss and, like, a little bit of floss starts coming out of their little hind end, do not pull on that. Let that come out naturally, because it can actually essentially perforate their intestines. So I would watch out with the hair thing. You're obviously going to have to pay attention and try to keep like brushes and stuff like that away from an animal. But like that's really interesting. I'm not sure if that's like a diet deficiency thing, or just like a weird thing that the animal is doing. As far as hiding your items, I don't know why cats would do this. I know why ferrets do it. But I mean, as long as it's not bothering you, I think it's just cute. But as long as they're also not eating those items, that's something that I always check on. Oh my god, the puppies are dreaming on my stream, and it is like next level. So yeah, that's really interesting. I would be worried about the hair a little bit and about this ingesting kind of situation, because like if it's just, is it just eating your hair? Because potentially it's eating more than that. So yeah, I mean, I think you can try to, maybe it's worth looking up, and I haven't done any research on this either, but like maybe it's worth looking up people who've had similar problems. Is that representative of like something that they're missing dietarily, or is it simply a behavioral thing? And then you can just try to, essentially you're just going to have to do your damnedest to keep the animal away from anything like that and try to break that cycle. Because it's just a behavioral, you know, if it is behavioral, it's just like a, you know, they just want to keep eating this thing because it makes them feel good for whatever reason, and then, you know, you have to really break that habit. Like, as we know, breaking habits in humans is very hard too. So and it's all about consistency. So it might just be like, all right, that's it, this is our focus for this week, is we're gonna break this habit, so we need to be really watchful of that type of things. But that's hard, especially because cats can easily get up on counters and everything. You know, it's so easy for dog owners to put their shit up and out of the way, but so much harder for cat owners. But those would be my things, and I would maybe go into some forums and see if there's anything, or even ask your vet, you know, is there any medical reason that the cat would be doing this, and if not, then you need to focus on those behavioral things. Interesting.
The sitting on the shoulder thing, I think that's actually a bit of a quirk. I actually have a few friends, even some of my friends on Instagram, where the cat sits on the shoulder, and they've actually turned it into a thing. So he'll just tap the shoulder, and he'll actually go outside, walk and bicycle and skateboard with a cat on the shoulder, and it's totally chilled. So to me, I think that's a nice thing to have. You
I'm not super concerned about the sitting on the shoulder. Sounds kind of nice, but some of my chat's asking too. Asking when the cat was taken away from its mom, because a lot of times animals will get oral fixations when they've you know, when they've been taken away too early. It's just like basically the suckle response essentially, and you can get really weird things when the animals you know, weren't weaned properly. Like some of our sea lions will suck on like their flippers and stuff like that. So yeah, interesting.
The next question we have here is, shame. Why did my dear now deceased cat love to drop small things from shelves to the floor?
Yeah,
and it was only when she was present, by the way.
Yeah, so it's an attention grabbing behavior. So the animal's looking for your attention, then, is what that's telling you. And if that's the case, then you don't give them attention for doing this. So like, guaranteed, what happens when the animal like moves to knock something off the shelf, or when they knock it off and then they like look directly at you, you yell and come over and pick up the cat, and you know, and all of a sudden they've got a bunch of attention for what they did. So it's a cause and effect, right? So they're getting essentially reinforced for doing it, because they get you know, they get some kind of attention for it. So that's going to be, that's one of the hardest things to do, especially when an animal's like doing destructive behavior like that, is to ignore it and not give them attention for it, especially when they've got them knocking things off the shelves. But one thing you could do is stop them before they do this. So you know, provide them with lots of attention and things like that when they're just on the ground, when they're just hanging out with you, when they're not doing destructive things. And try to, like, you know, you can pick up on cues, like, oh, it looks like he's gonna go over, hop up on this shelf and knock that thing off. Like, you know when that's gonna happen. Like, you can tell. So kind of maybe catching it beforehand, preventative. And again, that's like breaking the chain of the behavior, breaking the habit of the animal to do those types of things. That would be what I would look to do, because if you're saying the animal only does this when you're around, then they're definitely getting attention for it. They're getting exactly what they want every time they do it. So
look at this.
fucking cats, eh?
Yeah. Like, look at this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, do you like this little trinket? Like,
how about it on the floor? Now what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Let's see. Our next one is for a Labradoodle. And I'm trying to train my dog with an agility course, but he won't jump sometimes. when told or weave? Any tips?
Oh, it's hard because what are you using to train your cat? So, with the phrase like "he won't do this when told" makes me think that you're just like holding a hoop and just expecting the cat to go through it just because you're the owner and because it's the cat. But you have to give them a reason to do what you're doing. So, like, are you using treats, positive reinforcement? That would be, if you're giving them treats for doing behaviors, then there's no reason that the animal won't want to do this. One thing that people often too don't do, I mean, I would say like the vast majority of people, like, how do you feed your animals? You literally just have a bowl of food and they can eat, whatever,
Yes.
depending on what you've got. You feed a dog certain times a day or whatever, but you just give them their food. Well, what if you did a training session instead? Like, puppy cam is next level. What if instead of just pouring food in a bowl and allowing the animal to eat, what if you used like handfuls of that food, or even one at a time, like little bits of the kibble or whatever, and you had them do certain behaviors and gave them their food that way. This food then stretches out for however long it takes you to do this training session, 15 minutes or something like that. The animal gets something out of it. Instead of just scarfing on their food, they've got the mental stimulation of learning new things and trying new things. That would be something that I would suggest. You don't have to use treats with the animals. You can use just their normal food. So those are options too. If you don't give them access to their food whenever they want, they get access to their food when it's training time. So that's something that I think a lot of pet owners could try. I think everybody's so used to just, you just have a bowl and the dog just eats, or the cat just eats whenever it wants. But there's lots of different options.
I
for
do
you.
that a lot. I do that a lot with Ikaika.
Okay, yeah, and that's probably why Ikaika's the greatest
so
doggo
well
that ever
trained.
lived. Yeah.
It's like,
So yeah, I mean, those are things that I would suggest.
The only thing I can say about agility is sometimes dogs get really afraid of like the poles and everything because they swing. And so you have to start them off really slow. I used to do agility a lot with my sister when I was younger. They get really afraid, so you have to space it out and then work them in. And like as you're working them, like you're moving the poles in slowly, and then they get a bit more used to it. But they get really scared going through tunnels and everything, so it takes a lot of encouragement and a lot of patience.
Yeah, and I think that that you can definitely help yourself with that, with the positive reinforcement, with the with the food motivation and stuff like that, and they can learn to just positively associate awesomeness with with this agility course instead of like fear and stuff like that. So that would be I think those are all good points.
Okay, moving on to another cat question. You watching a puppy stream? I so badly want to get my bearded dragon or a cat a mini caravan. There's like 3 little kittens squashed in this mini caravan. Yeah, I don't know this next question. I don't know if the cat is 21 years old or if the person was 21 years old, but it says cat 21 years old. That's a very old cat.
It's combined with the one right after.
Yeah, it is, definitely. So basically the question is, a cat's been trying to drink water from a tap since moving into a new flat or #apartment, or drinking water out of the glass instead of a fresh water bowl. Why?
Why? It's so funny. Have you ever, there's so many new videos of like cats trying to drink out of faucets and it's just pouring on their head and they're just licking their lips and it's just like pouring off. It's so funny. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, a lot of, I feel like this is true of like even the ferrets. They always just want whatever's in my glass and not what's in their water bowl. And I think to a certain extent you kind of just have to have to deal with this. I mean, you could look at getting a different type of bowl. Like, what type of bowl are you using? Is it a metal bowl? I feel like sometimes metal can make the water taste a little bit different. Maybe the animal doesn't like that. Um, but you know, I some of this too is just like everything and everyone always wants what they can't have, you know. So it's like the second that, you know, like, oh, I have all this water, yeah, I know, but your water is what I want because you
Yes,
never let
because
me
you
have
have
it.
it.
It obviously must be superior water because you never let me have any of it. So so yeah, I mean, I don't know if something like that is what's going on, but yeah, I mean, as long as it's not like bothering you, I don't think that it's really like a big a big problem that you should be concerned about. But yeah, maybe try change up the water bowl, maybe a different type of water bowl, and might
It's also
make
probably
the
trying to
animal
look for
more
fresh water instead of maybe the bowl's been
yeah,
out
water
for.
that's been sitting out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I always try to, like, you know, you should change their water like multiple times a day.
Yes.
Honestly, and so so yeah, so maybe that's the issue. So try a couple things like that. Also, I don't think people clean water
bowls.
bowls as
Yeah.
much as they really should. Because, I mean, think about I mean, like the animal has to like literally dip its tongue in there to get the water. So so there's a lot of bacteria and stuff like that floating around. So making sure you keep your water bowls clean. Maybe try a different type of water bowl. But if it's ultimately if it's not really bothering you, then I wouldn't worry too much about it.
I did it with my ex-roommates. If you want to know how bad a bowl can get, because they had steel bowls and they're like, oh, it should be fine. Smell it. Put your nose in there when the water's empty and smell it. And then immediately after you throw up, wash the bowl. Because, yeah,
Right.
as you said, it's... Oh, Kitty's just got out the caravan. Sorry. Oh my
Oh, I
God.
know, yeah, you and me are both so distracted by our life.
And they're meowing and they're getting fed. I'm like, oh my God! They're
There's
all
a
over the
cat in
camera.
mine. There's a cat in mine, like longingly trying to get into the puppy thing. It's just like it's
Oh,
chaos
cute!
over
It's
here.
like I want to join in.
A couple things on my chat. Somebody's saying too, like if a cat is drinking a lot, and so I don't know if that's the issue. But if you're noticing that your animal at any point, not even just a cat, is drinking more water than usual,
Yes.
that's something to be concerned about.
Yes.
So it could be a couple things. Someone here in chat saying it could be a kidney issue,
Yes.
but
yes.
also diabetes. I've had a diabetic dog, and that drinking excessive amounts of water is definitely a sign of that. And then someone's here saying, suggesting add ice to the water bowl. Maybe give it some reason to want to, like, oh, this is interesting. There's ice in here.
What is this?
So maybe that's something to try too.
But the cat drinking from the tap thing, every cat I've owned has been obsessed with a dripping tap or a tap. The moment it's done, it's just like, I need to investigate this. There's multiple times, too much disclosure, but I'd be bathing, the cat would be at the door, like, can you let me in? You let it in, it goes to the dripping tap, and at least a couple of times it fell in the bath. It left very quickly, but it's like, I need the water that's here.
Yeah, this water is superior water.
It is coming fresh from somewhere. Okay, so let's move on to the next question, which is the last question. So then we will start taking questions that I've seen have been posted a lot on my YouTube chat as well. I'm sure there's a lot on Twitch, and then we'll get through to that.
Okay, so you said this was actually from Tessa, right?
Yes! Tessa's question.
So Mara, why is Mara sometimes biting me randomly? Does she think I am a cat or mouse and just wants to play, or should I be worried?
Ooh, I mean, like, I guess what kind of biting? Like, there's very different kinds of biting, right? Like, with my ferrets, like, I allow play biting, which is, like, super cute. Never causes any pain or anything like that. But I do not allow real biting. So there's definitely a difference. I mean, if it's just, like, fun little mouthing, then I think it's just a playful behavior, probably. I don't think that there's any way that a cat is silly enough to confuse you with you know, with a mouse or with anything that it would actually want to eat. So yeah, and again too, like, as long as they're not breaking the skin, they're not, you know, this isn't like a nasty, unwanted behavior. It sounds like just fun. I've never had fun with a cat. I didn't know they do this type of thing. But I wouldn't be super concerned about that unless it's bothering you in some way. But yeah, maybe the cat just wants attention. Again, it seems like a lot of these cats are just attention grabbers, and maybe they. What do you do whenever the cat does that?
Yeah.
Do you give it attention? Because maybe that's.
This is one person that's actually available to ask questions. So, I think the biggest thing is how hard is the cat biting? Is it being playful, or is it like get away from me type of biting? Because that is and as I think you just asked, like I think we had a discussion like what do you do when the cat bites? Guys, nibble. Maybe we can see. She's just still reacting there. We're asking the question like, oh my god. So maybe you can put it in chat or an answer, and then we can take it further from there. Oh my gosh, the cats are right up by the camera. I was watching, by the way, sidetrack while we're waiting for Tessa answers, watching a manatee stream, and the amount of times the manatees put their face and lips up against the camera. It's like they have almost like that walrus face. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, no, they are very similar.
Yeah, they have the same ooh lips. They could sing songs. Thanks for submitting KP answers. Yeah, so let me put it in chat. But so far, we can, before we get into the end, let me just put does Mara bite hard? Oh, kitty counting. I don't know which doggy stream you're watching, by the way. What's it called? Because as you mentioned, there's so many. But
this is like Warrior Canine Connection is what it says on the bottom. I don't know. I've got golden retriever puppies that are doing some of the most adorable things.
Okay.
There's a slide. It's pretty next level over here.
They get a lot of toys and things like that, and there's a lot of them. I don't know if that's like a place that breeds them or what the story is. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll up here to find the questions that if there's any questions here. Okay, I have this. I have an adult dog at home, and he's not seen other dogs for a long time, and a puppy comes to visit, and the reaction is to run away. How can I help him with this experience not be so traumatic?
Okay, so sorry. Why does the dog run away?
So anytime a puppy gets brought over, so I'm assuming it's the same puppy, the dog runs away. The adult dog's like, I don't want any of this. Maybe he just doesn't like kids.
Yeah. One thing that I would maybe try is meeting on neutral ground. So anytime you're bringing another animal to where an animal lives, like that's its home, that's its territory. So meeting on like a neutral ground, a neutral territory would be something that I would try. See what the reaction is there. See if there's a difference, because that could tell you a lot about why the animal is doing the behavior. And then again, we're just going to come back to positive reinforcement. I would try, not just busting down the door and just shoving a puppy in there, but like if you're going to meet outside, everybody gets treats for sitting nice and calm, not running away, those types of things. And then you can gradually move the animals closer and closer. And I'm talking like really gradually, like this, depending on the animal's behavior, the dog will tell you what it's ready for and what it's not for. You can this could honestly take months, depending on how frequently and how much time you're able to put into it. One thing that's also super important, I think, I always try to end like training sessions really positively. So so say you guys are sitting out on the front lawn, you've got the dogs within 5 feet of each other, everything's nice and calm, and they're much calmer than they were at the start. Maybe then that's a good time to send puppy on its way and give the doggo a break, who's doing such a good job, instead of pushing them closer and closer and closer together and potentially running the risk of having a bad interaction, and then then that's the taste that you leave in each of the dogs' mouths. Instead of ending a session, ending when you're ahead, nice and positive, and then you can pick up from where you left off the next time around. So I think that's something. It's something that even now as a trainer I struggle with. We always call it getting greedy. Like I got greedy. I thought I could get more, and I tried and I pushed my animal past the comfort zone, and now I have to actually take steps back in the training instead of if I would have just been satisfied with what I was getting. So so those are a couple things I would try. And again, the power of snacks with dogs. You kind of underestimate the power of snacks. And so I would definitely work on that. And I think like I said, meeting in a neutral area is a great first step. These puppies are ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm having the same thing with the cats. They're climbing all over my head. One just licked my hair, and the mommy cat's just been introduced, and I'm like, oh my god. Yeah.
Oh, so this Warrior Canine Connection they're all going to be service dogs.
Oh, how great! What good little
I've been
doggo.
streaming service dogs. Oh my god. I streamed them over the weekend. They're so cute.
Yeah, retrievers are always like up there as service dogs.
They're so good.
Just going back to that question, so in the case of the cat that bitey, so in any retrospect you don't want that behavior, what is the best way to prevent the cat from actually continuing that behavior?
So again, I guess this kind of depends on why the animal's doing the behaviors. Is it doing it to get your attention? In that case, I'd go back to what we were talking about with the cat who was knocking things off of the shelves, where try to catch them before they do that. Try to reinforce them for doing something else, maybe rubbing up on your leg in a nice way. That gets the cat a nice reward, whereas biting gets nothing, doesn't even get a reaction. And this can be very hard with biting. It's very important to not and I'm talking zero reaction. If nothing happens, it's what we call a least reinforcing scenario. So essentially nothing happens. Even if you yell at the cat, that's something that happened. They got a reaction. Yeah, and that can be reinforcing, even though we think of it as being a sort of punishment. It might not be in the cat's eyes. So same with children biting. Somebody says in my chat. Yeah, I don't know about that. But yeah, I mean, you like an absolute zero reaction should eventually eliminate that behavior. The animal's getting absolutely nothing for
just basically ignoring almost on.
Yeah. So that's those are things that I would try, but I always like I said, trying to sort of get ahead of the behavior instead of waiting around and you're going, okay, I think the cat's about ready to bite me. Well, don't let it then. Try something different, shift attention away, change things up. And then, and then if they do end up biting or doing whatever, no reaction, you get nothing for that. Hopefully you're not being actually hurt by this, and then you can kind of move forward in that way. Would be my suggestion.
And is it too old to train any animal? Is there a limit? That can't teach an old dog new tricks. Is that true?
No, that's an old wives' tale. You can teach anything. Anything with a brain stem can be trained at any age. It does not matter. They are always capable of learning new things. Yeah. Don't let that. That's just a way to get out of training. The dog's too old. No, nah.
And for people, because I can't seem to learn a new language anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely so what I do think is that at the very beginning of life, and these puppies are a great example. This is when the animals are learning to learn, which sounds kind of funny, but there's a time in your life where you're learning the act of learning, and how to interact with your environment. So definitely saturating younger animals with like lots of things happening and lots of opportunities to learn is going to definitely help you in the future to have an animal that really wants to learn and really is very good at it and very excited about it. But that doesn't mean that, you know, if you have an older animal, that doesn't mean that that animal can't learn. But that's the same reason why it's so much easier for younger people to, you know, usually to learn a new language, is because they're, you know, they're just in a mode for learning those types of things. And it is tricky as an adult, but it is not impossible. I learned French over the past year, so you can do it. You can do it.
Yes. I'm still trying to learn English, if anyone's ever seen me type on Discord. It's like, what is he trying to say? Is this his first language? No, I don't have a first language. I've moved on straight to second, and that's it. So, but that's impressive. But thank you for that information. We have made good time here, by the way. Yet again.
Yeah?
Is there any questions that I have missed, by the way? Because the chat went quite fast, and I've been trying to scroll up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But it seems like we haven't missed anything that is valuable.
We had a question that's not related, but Georgie was asking if otters can become territorial.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, actually, so at the aquarium, like, we have a very unique. It is not common to have male otters, with access to females and other males, because male otters tend to be very territorial. So yeah, you can definitely run into issues like that. We haven't had any just yet, and maybe that's a product of that we sort of what we have, like, done birth control on our males, so their hormones are a little bit less than what an intact adult male otters would be, but yeah, territoriality, and especially adult male otters, is definitely something to watch out for. They normally will keep track of, like, they operate a territory out in the ocean, and then any females that are in there are essentially theirs, and they will defend it against other males.
Okay, I did see a question here. What does it mean when a dog clenches its teeth?
Like, is it like baring their teeth? Like, are they curling back their lips?
Not sure. It just means, what does it mean when a dog clenches teeth? Which I'm assuming that's what it is. Which means not happy puppy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, tooth baring is definitely a sign of being uncomfortable. Whether that's because the dog is I don't know, territorial, or these puppies.
They're just overwhelming, Mom.
Oh my god.
We're operating a doggy breastfeeding cam right now. Like, it is next level. So yeah, the dog is uncomfortable for whatever reason, whether it's scared or being aggressive. So yeah, you definitely want to watch out for whatever's going on, what's causing the animal to do that sort of that behavior, and look at that. So again, you can, if it's scared, you need to, like, actually I'd be very I'm more scared of a scared dog than an aggressive dog. I mean, scared dogs can be very dangerous. So and you can slowly work on all this stuff through positive reinforcement. Like, okay, what scared the dog? Okay, well, now I'm going to make sure that this dog gets lots of love and pets or food or whatever. Whenever this stuff is around, we're going to take it really slow, that sort of thing. For aggression, essentially the same thing, except for that you want to. So you have to treat things differently. For an aggressive dog, I would make sure that I'm not reinforcing the dog for doing that type of behavior, and instead taking it very slow and reinforcing the dog the second that it doesn't do that behavior. Because in this case, the dog's not scared, the dog's just being aggressive, and you want to send a signal that that's not okay. It's not an okay behavior to do. So yeah, so there's so many. I have so many questions about this. Like, we have to know why this behavior is happening. So, but those are kind of like the two scenarios that come to mind. But definitely, teeth baring is a sign of an uncomfortable dog.
Yeah, it's goes right up there with the hissing question we had earlier on, in terms of hissing and things like that. We had one question here. One of my students had a chameleon. Oh, another lizard question. He brought it to school, but I think transporting such an animal is not appropriate because of the change in temperature.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna defer to you again, but I do know that temperature control with these, because these guys are not warm-blooded animals. So
they're not. It's actually. You can transport an animal as long as it's not something they're doing every day, because also generally with my bearded dragon, if you're transporting in a container and things like that, it's very disorientating because it's moving. Like my bearded dragon, #afraid of heights, like does not like heights, but yeah, the temperature thing will play a role, but it's really depending on what was the temperature outside. Is it like my temperature that when I walk outside here, it's very good, because UV rays are very important to lizards. So if he's taking outside and it's basking in the sun, that is actually an extremely good thing. And also it's mental stimulation if they're seeing everything out in the wild. But if it's like a drastic change where they're taking it out in the middle of winter, that's never good for any reptile, because as KP mentioned, they're cold-blooded. And you never want the body temperature of an animal to drop, specifically a lizard, below something like 20 degrees, because then it actually starts damaging them. They almost go into brumation. They're like, well, I guess I don't need to be awake anymore, and that's very dangerous. And also there's certain things about chameleons. I'm not sure if it's with chameleons and it is with bearded dragons and some lizards. They don't have a diaphragm. So actually, if you put a chameleon upside down, or like a bearded dragon, or upright, they actually stop breathing. So depending how they've been transported, those are the things. But yeah, if it's not a very big temperature change, it doesn't really matter. And as long as they're getting a lot of sun as well. But yeah, depends. I wouldn't know what state this is in. So you don't want to take it out if it's a very big drop. But unfortunately, we all have to transport our animals sometimes. But if it's been an everyday thing to school, as long as the temperature is relatively the same, it should be fine. And again, it's interaction. Except if you're obviously taking it into a classroom and the aircon's on. My bearded dragon doesn't even like the aircon inside the car. So I die going to the vet, because I have to literally sit there and sweat. Otherwise, she gets very irritated. They nag about everything. They can't speak, but they're very particular. But yeah, so
Cool.
I wish somebody. I would need more information about that, but yeah, it shouldn't be fine. Yeah, there we go. Oh, these cats climbing in a caravan. How do they fit?
Okay.
Yeah.
Since we're on this thing, actually, this was something I asked you a long time ago, KP, about me clipping Ikaika's nails. And we slowly tried to break him into being used to seeing the clippers and everything.
Sure.
He's actually doing a lot better now.
Good.
He's he'll shake and he'll cry a little bit, but I'll just kind of hold him and pet him and tell him it's okay.
Oh.
And then he's letting us clip his nails now. So we've actually made really good progress.
Exciting.
Lots of positive reinforcement.
Sweet. All right, there you have it. Positive reinforcement. It works,
Yes.
people.
Can we do that for kids? Because I never liked my nails clipped when I was small.
You
I wish I
can't,
had got a treat.
Yeah, all this stuff absolutely does work on humans, guys. It really does. So it's all positive reinforcement is a psychology principle. So it's rooted in human behavior. So it does all work. It's a little bit tricky because humans, and honestly, it's very tricky in general. I find dog and pet training to be a very interesting territory, because for me, like I said, you usually treat your animals differently. the animals that I work with at work, they are fed as part of training sessions. So I am food to them. I'm extremely motivating to them. They, you know, they want to learn and do things because that's where food comes from. And so in that way you build up a very awesome positive relationship with the animal, and then I just leave, right? So I don't have to train the animal for things that it's doing in its everyday wild or everyday like life, you know, like they are just like dogs are with you 24/7. So if you have you might have a problem with a number of things that they're doing. Like there's a lot of things that our sea lions do that I wouldn't want that I wouldn't probably want them to do if I lived with them, but I don't, so I don't care, you know. So it's a really tricky thing, like, and you can't always use food with a dog because you're literally living with them. Are they going to eat 24/7? Not really.
Yes.
So it's totally different territory, and so with humans too, it's even more so because like, well, a lot of things that you can do with a pet you absolutely can't do with a kid. You can't just pop them in the kennel, or, you know, things like that. You can't put a bark collar on them. So there's a lot of things that are, you know, acceptable training practices with animals that are not acceptable with kids, and kids can understand languages, so that's
that helps,
you know. So yeah, it could help, but it can also, I don't know, you know, it's just so complicated. So but the principles do work. You know, positive reinforcement, it works for everything with a brainstem.
I'm actually going to answer the question that I saw here in Discord. It's like, do birds understand the words that they get taught? And I've been told this by a thing. No, it's a copy of your reaction, and it's the way to communicate with you, but they can't actually speak in full sentences. It's not like, hello,
yeah,
I'm Polly the Cracker.
Yeah, exactly. Birds are just repeating
Mimicking.
Sounds. It's not as if they understand the languages. Now you can teach them that certain words can be associated with certain things,
Yes.
but it's the same as like whenever we train the animals at work. It's not as if, like, even when you train an animal, its name, you can't, like, this is a part of the anthropomorphism conversation that we get into a lot, but it's that, like, even if you're teaching an animal its name, it's not as if the dog then thinks that's its name. Dogs don't have concepts of this. They don't know what a name is, but they know that if they come to you when
Yes.
you make that specific sound, then awesome things happen. And so they want to do that. But it's not, you know, it's one of those things that's so tricky to kind of like grasp the idea of and to understand. But yeah, so a bird, even if it learns how to say, like, hey, it's not actually
Yes.
looking for you to, like, say how your day has been. It just knows that it gets
A
attention
specific
for
reaction
that,
to
and
that sound.
yeah, exactly, and you've essentially trained it to do that. So yeah, it can be very hard not to anthropomorphize, but
Yeah.
I think as long as you're trying and you try to, like, think about these types of things, then you're doing pretty okay. I mean, we all anthropomorphize.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, it's just what
I
we
think
do,
the
but
closest thing to that, which there's a pet store down the road. I believe most pet stores are not a pet store until they have their parrot standing outside the cage, just open. Like down here in South Africa, that's for some reason a thing. But they literally train the parrot that if you walked in, it would say hello. It doesn't understand, obviously, the word, but it knew when someone walked in to get its attention. So it would, as you walk in, hello, and you're like, oh my god, it said hello to me. But it's basically like, no, I've been taught to do this because obviously positive reinforcement, and it really tried to get your attention. It was very funny, like hello, but it's just a sound. But yeah, we made some good time today. Again, we're doing well. We will keep the AMA sheet open for next week's topic, which we'll obviously discuss between ourselves and that. Did we have any idea what we're going to be discussing next week, or did I miss the meeting, or we'll just put it in chat?
Sorry. Yeah. So wow, we did. We did it.
Yes, we did.
Nice.
I know. I'm shocked. I feel like have we just done it? Have we done the hour that we're normally allotted to do?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think we've decided on a topic for next week, but we will put it in chat. We will discuss it on both our Discords. The AMA sheet will still be there. But obviously, if you have any animal-related questions or maybe even suggestions of topics, put it in either of our Discords, and we will definitely come and discuss it, and hopefully we'll have a good week next week. Unless you want to guys do this again, because this was very informative. But
we can kind of we'll talk about what we're gonna do.
There needs to be a day that we need to do walruses. It's like your favorite animal, and we have not
I know
been properly
we did
introduced.
a walrus one not that long ago, but
I'm introducing
But,
people
yeah.
to the manatee thing as well on my side. I've started to stream a lot more sea potatoes.
I was kind of thinking too, because I've got my video coming out this Saturday is going to be a little bit more about like oil spills, so maybe we could do even like more honed questions about certain things, and even talk about like some environmental issues and stuff. So that's an option in the future, and maybe like guys, let us know what you want to talk about too. So like what you want to learn more about.
The sea environmental state in terms of pollution, overfishing, and oil spills and all that is actually a very, very important topic, because I don't think people realize how bad the state of affairs is in the ocean at the moment. They think, no, it's fine. It's serious, but I think there's also some glimmer of hopes elsewhere. Like the video made about the otters had a happy ending for once. Thank you, KP, for doing that with your video, having a little bit of a happy ending. It's always so gloom, like it's terrible, it's done. No, there was a happy ending. They recovered.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to thank you for joining. For my people, stick around. I'm going to have a little bit of a conversation with you. But for KP, thank you so much. Are you going to be streaming again after this?
Yeah, we're gonna go on for a little bit longer. I've got to do some filming for our next video, so just a little bit longer. But I'll just wrap things up nicely over on my channel. So yeah.
Excellent. Thanks a lot for joining. And we'll catch everyone next week. But stick around for my YouTube people. I'm going to still chat to you a little bit. But thanks. Thanks, KP.
Have a good day.
Thanks, Reiha.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye.
All right, some of you, thank you for sticking around. I'm wondering if my audio is still going through. Yes, it is. So, guys, thank you for joining very much. We are trying to develop a new thing. Every Sunday on the Discord, TinyTube is going to try and do something with art. So it's something that will be very engaging. We're trying to also introduce a lot more animals in terms of what we stream. So I know we all love our otters, but I got some excellent news, is that we officially associated with a charity. So any purchases from our merch and things like that, it actually 10%, minimum 10%, minimum, automatically goes to Sea Rescue for Manatees. Sea turtles get enough PR. There wasn't an otter organization because they seem to be very well looked after. But just to let you know, when that option is available, and there's a reason why it's not available at the moment, so when it's not something to comment about, there's a reason it's not available, but when we are able to generate funds for an otter, whether it's VA, Montague Bay, shared aquarium, we will pick that up. But yeah, 10%, we're starting to donate funds to manatees. So automatically 10% is donated to them. That is preliminary, that's over and above what we are going to be donating anyway. So that's an automatic thing. We're very proud in this initiative to be partnered with Teespring, that they've allowed us to do that. So would you autograph the merchandise? Absolutely, I'd love to do that. Ooh, I need to see how we can do that. But I'll absolutely do something where we can autograph that. But yes, so we do have Super Chat. It's not something I'm using at the moment. We are planning for that. I'm trying to look at to make sure it's done properly, to see how much YouTube actually takes out of it, because I don't want to make anyone donate something like $10 and then we only get $2 to donate. Then it's kind of pointless. Then I don't want to help YouTube build their funds. But we are going to be putting up a membership plan very soon, and from the YouTube side of it, that is 100% for charity, 100% going to animal organizations. And also we're going to be supporting a lot of homegrown initiatives in terms of street puppies, that is something that I'm working on with someone that eventually we're going to do. So dogs that are left out in the street for no reason, because we're horrible people and we leave animals out in the street, looking to do something around that. So that the main goal is to get those animals neutered, because we want that naturally to dissipate. I don't think any animal should be destroyed. It's a very easy process. If you neuter all the animals and stop them from preventing to have children, it'll eventually phase out automatically, until some idiot goes and neglects another puppy. So we're trying to prevent that. So that is something that we will work on, and it's still in the process. But I guarantee from the YouTube side of things, if we turn Super Chats on and we have subscriptions, guaranteed 100% of those profits that come back to us, that YouTube hasn't taken away from us, is going straight into these initiatives, because it's still very important to me. Yeah, but the merch store, we're officially streaming with manatees. So after this, we're going to go back to manatees, and we're going to be streaming the kittens and the puppies throughout the week. So please let me know what you want to see on the channel, on the Discord channel, what you want us to stream. But I'm only interested in streaming stuff that is actually you can support in a way, except for Saturdays, which I tend to like to make a movie. Put up a movie for you to watch and escape. But yeah, so that's very, very exciting things that are happening in the future that is really passionate for me. And we're going to be completely transparent with things, because I think that has been missing a lot with a lot of people that have been commenting, is that there's not enough transparency with these sort of initiatives. And I want to make sure that everyone knows that even if you're donating a shirt, what are you getting out of it? What did you buy? You bought a shirt, yes, but where's those funds going? So that is something that we will work on. And thank you everyone for joining our stream. So we're going to be jumping back on the Discord. The manatees are going to be streaming. If you're listening to me at the moment, watching the manatees, and you think, where did this voice come from? Join us on Discord. Watch the manatees. You can see the organization is listed there. They do accept donations. They don't have enough PR, because they are very friendly animals, and their actually only enemy is humans and boats. And they got a lot of work, every animal. So please join us, and thank you for joining us. I bid you farewell. Thank you for joining, and I'll catch you next week, where we will most likely be talking, it seems, about environmental issues related to the ocean. So go post your comments in the AMA questions today.